My name is Luke from Yoda One Games. I recently had a conversation with Frank Eno. He is a longtime developer who recently started making his own mobile games. He built games like Mystery Box in Unity and first used Unity ads, but then switched to Maz. We had a conversation about Frank's experience using Maz, the process of integrating, and overall working with Yoda One. So, without delay, let's get into my conversation with Frank Eno. Frank, welcome. It's great to speak with you.
That the same for me, same for me too.
Maybe
Very glad.
maybe we could start just by you introducing yourself a little bit, and also I'd appreciate knowing a bit more about the games you've been working on, and what you're up to.
Yeah, so I've initially started my tech career as a mobile and web developer. So I've built. This was like 9 years ago, and I've started building iOS applications templates. And I've started selling them on a marketplace online. Like I was selling source code. I'm still doing that. As a side project right now. So that's because I fell in love for the iPhone. When it came out, I was like, I gotta do apps for that phone. I wasn't so much into computer and technology by that time, so I've learned everything fast, and I've started building some app templates. Then I learned HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and I started, building also web templates, websites, freelance works and stuff like that. Then I've always had, I was always dreaming about making a game, and I knew Unity a little bit. I, started to learn it in the past, but gave up quickly because I had to work on my other stuff, the mobile and web templates, just to get a living. Then finally, even if it may sound a little bit bad, we've got the lockdown because of COVID-19, and I seen that the revenue for my freelance job got lower. I don't know why, because what, you stay home and you make
More time to
web.
work.
Sorry.
Staying at home, more time to work.
Yeah, more time to work, but less revenue, less
Right.
customers.
Yeah.
It was like, I don't understand why, but I'm a positive person, so I was like, okay. So now, since I have more time to dedicate learning Unity, I'm just gonna do that, and I'm just gonna build my games. So the very first game I built was actually, I'm really passionate about puzzles games, like room escape games. Okay,
Yeah, those are
so
great.
yeah, the very first one was actually Dark Rooms, a simple game, 3D game, not 2D game, where you have to actually solve riddles and stuff, to open doors, and you have to open 100 doors. Then, it went fine, and I built a trilogy about it. So Dark Rooms 1, 2, and 3. And 3 months ago, only 3 months ago, I published the game that I'm really proud of, and it's called Mystery Box Hidden Secrets.
Where
My
did the idea come for Mystery Box? Why did you decide to depart from the trilogy and do something different?
Because I'm actually uh, by that time I've bought a pair of shoes to my kids. I've got 4 kids, and I was handling the box of the shoes, and I was like, maybe I can do a game with it.
Yeah,
That's how my mind worked.
that's that's cool. I mean,
That's funny, but
it's such an enticing concept. I mean, as a game, case openers, mystery boxes, people get very excited about that kind of stuff. Loot crates, right?
yeah. In fact, I've got so far in 3 months, I've got 10,000 downloads, over 10,000
That's
downloads.
great. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Well, I was going to ask. So when you started developing your first game, You were developing in Unity. What monetization solution were you using before Maz?
I was using only exclusively Unity ads,
Hmm.
and revenue wasn't so much, but I was kind of in a hurry and also didn't know since I focused my attention and effort. I put all my effort on learning Unity and all the C sharp stuff, so not concentrated so much about ads and monetization. So I was like, okay, just a couple of clicks and I will be able to enable Unity ads in my games and I will be fine. But I wasn't happy because revenue were really low, like $0.2 a day. That
Hmm.
was bad.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. For the number of downloads you were getting, it looked like it wasn't worth it, right?
Yeah,
So
because I was like 100, 200 downloads a day. And I was like, that I'm not gonna get anything. Thank God, I love making games, but that's not making a living.
yeah, I mean that's the struggle of a lot of developers. The making the games is the fun part, but then monetization is the necessity, but can be very complicated or maybe sometimes not very good. So how would you describe overall the experience using Maz so far?
Oh, that's great. That's great. You know what? I'm gonna tell you a little story. The very first time I knew about Yoda One was by Tsitsi, if I remember correctly, the pronunciation of her name. She emailed me. She probably found my game over the app stores. And I was like, okay, well, let's give it a try. And I talked to her. She spent, over 30 minutes on a video call with me, explaining me everything for free. And that was great. That was the first sign that I said, that made me think like, okay, I'm gonna try it. And she said, it's easy to implement the Mass SDK, and I'm actually a good developer. So it took half an hour for me to implement the Mass SDK because it's also really easy to do that. And since the day one, my revenue got double. Yeah, and now I'm making really a fair amount of money with Mass, and I'm still pushing the game. I need to get more downloads yet, but I'm working on it with Twitter and all the social media that I'm in. But so far, for the number of downloads that I get, the revenue are amazing, in my opinion. Really great. And I'm going to tell you something else. The key points that made me stick to Yoda One and, like, I'm really happy about Yoda One and Mass, not just the Mass SDK, but Yoda One customer support. Every time I had an issue, not even related to the Mass SDK, the customer support promptly replied to me in within 1 or 2 days, and I understand everybody's busy. So I don't pretend you to quickly reply to me. But 1 2 days is amazing. And they helped me fix every time the issue for free. That was great. That's called customer support, in my opinion. Okay. Second, but not second, actually, my customer manager is Jamal. And since the day we got in touch, he is really friendly, and we're kind of friends. And once in a while, he shows up. How are you? How is it going? And stuff like that. And he also helps me on testing my game in case of bugs. Because you never know. Sometimes a bug here and there comes up. So even the support I get from my customer manager is awesome. So
That's fantastic to hear. Yeah, that's great. Jamal is very cool, and Sitsi is very cool too. I know them both.
yeah.
What type of ads are you using right now? Is it right now just interstitials? Are you using a mix of different types? How's your monetization strategy at the moment for?
I'm using interstitials and reward ads. So if you need a hint, you click the hint button and you
Oh,
watch a 30 seconds video, and that's when the reward ad gets fired, gets called, in the game. Then every 2-3 levels, I fire an interstitial ad. I'm not using banners because they limit the gameplay, the screen, especially on
Right.
small screen devices like iPhone 5 or 5S, stuff like that. So that's a combination.
Well, also those two ad types that you're using tend to have much better performance per ad as well, right? So
Right.
um, that's a really interesting injection point for the clues. I like that. You want a clue, you watch an ad. That seems to be a really natural point. That's cool. So, what about plans for the future? Are you going to be making other games? Do you have ideas that you're going to be working on?
I am full of ideas actually, but what I'm working on right now is a sequel of Mystery Box. It's called Mystery Box Evolution, and instead of simple material boxes like wooden boxes and metal rock boxes, black boxes, stuff like that, it's about cultures. So there will be Chinese boxes, Aztec boxes, Greek boxes, and Egyptian boxes and stuff like that. That's why it's called evolution. A little bit different the game play when you interact with some objects, respect the mystery box one, but the concept is actually the same. It's a sequel.
Okay, so you sounds like you're kind of an anthropologist, sort of moving through time a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. What about so you mentioned that the integration process was pretty straightforward. How would you describe the integration process itself from a technical standpoint? What's involved? How complicated is the integration itself?
Well, as I said before, I'm a good developer. I mean, and not because I want to. I'm a modest person, a humble person, but I know the job that I know. I know when I know something, I can proudly say that I know something. But in my opinion, even for a beginner developer, who gets into Unity for the first time and wants to learn it, I think it comes pretty easy because the Mass SDK has got the Unity package file, so you just do double click and you install all the necessary files. Then you have to just open a couple of windows and copy paste your key and your publisher key, So it's pretty easy. In case you get an issue, there's always the support ready to help you, even with a remote control on your Mac or Windows, whatever you're using. And but anyway, that's that may depends on Unity sometimes. That doesn't perform the installation of the Mass SDK properly, so you have to restart Unity and install it again with a double click. So really, it's pretty easy. It's pretty easy actually.
Yeah, and I think it continues to get easier. That's one thing that the team really focuses on is making sure that it's very easy to integrate, and then once you've integrated it, you don't have to worry about updating it and stuff like that. It just sort of, or at least as not very often, if possible. Yeah,
Mm,
yeah.
that's
Well,
cool.
yeah, it's great to hear about your experiences. You mentioned we were talking. You get excited about talking about Maz or talking about the Yoda One. So I really appreciate the chance to talk with you, and it's great to hear about your experiences. Is there anything else you wanted to share? That was my those are my main questions.
No, actually, because I said, I can say that and I actually do that on Twitter. Sometimes I recommend some indie game developers, with the hashtag indie game dev or indie game or game dev, whatever, just to make my tweets more reachable, in the independent game development community.
Hmm.
So I always recommend using the other ones, and say like you want to double your revenue, you got to get in touch with the other one, you know, because beside it's as I said before, it's really easy to implement the Mass SDK, and you actually will see the difference. So I also got in touch with a couple of developers who asked me a few more info about Yoda 1 and the Mass SDK, and I told them, that I recommended them, strongly recommended them to switch into Yoda 1 and forget Unity. Out of respect, Unity is great, Unity adds is great, but it's not like Yoda 1. That's what it is. That's the truth.
Well, it's again great to hear about your experience, and I hope also good luck on the next game and the ones in the future as well. Sounds like a pretty cool project, and again, great speaking with you. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate that too, really. That was great. Thanks.